Welcome to CBR. From the distant planet Zen-La comes a couple of characters who eventually became known as the Silver Surfer. Who exactly are they? How did both become involved with Galactus? Let's discuss the origins of the Silver Surfers. The Fantastic Four First Steps will premiere on July 25th, including the Silver Surfer. But did you know that this will not be the same character seen in previous Fantastic Four movies? When we think Silver Surfer, the character most of us immediately think about is Norrin Radd, and for good reason. He is the one who has been adapted to the 2007 movie Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. But most importantly, he is the original herald of Galactus in Marvel Comics. Before we get into Julia Garner's role as Shalla-Bal in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie, and within the MCU, let's recap the origins of Norrin Radd's responsibility with Galactus, and talk about how the two Silver Surfers are connected. Norrin Radd of Earth 616 first appeared in Fantastic Four number 48 in December 1965, which is also the first comic in which Galactus appears. But Norrin's full origin story was first explained in 1968 with the launch of the first Silver Surfer series. Norrin comes from the planet Zen-La, in the Deneb system of the Milky Way galaxy, the home of a highly advanced humanoid race. These people are renowned throughout the cosmos for their commitment to progress and peace, having created a utopia in the galaxy. Zen-Lavians have always been devoted to science and social equality. And here's a fun fact. Norrin's father named him after a famous scientist on their planet called Norrin Khan. Norrin Radd was always a smart child and later became a very intelligent man. His curiosity about the universe was limitless, pushing him to learn about cosmic mysteries and philosophical questions. He had a romantic relationship with Shalla-Bal and lived a normal life until the day Galactus came to Zen-La. Norrin and Shalla-Bal were caught by surprise when an alarm sounded one day, announcing the arrival of a gigantic alien spaceship. The planet had no form of protection against Galactus invasion. They only had one weapon, which backfired. It proved insufficient to stop the World Eater, and even destroyed much of Zen-La itself. Norrin felt like he had no choice but to strike a deal with Galactus and save his people. He became a herald of Galactus in exchange for his planet being spared. Galactus transformed him into a silver-skinned, superpowered cosmic surfer. This specific look was later explained as being based on one of Norrin's memories from childhood, extracted from within him when Galactus gave him powers. Despite knowing he would never see his loved ones again, he sacrificed his personal happiness for the survival of his people. Zen-La lived on, while Norrin went on to live alone in space, trapped in the responsibility of looking for other planets to feed Galactus. Although he is a villainous, cosmic entity, Galactus often demonstrates some compassion. For example, when a mysterious alien being called the Other destroyed Zen-La, Galactus agreed to help Norrin resurrect the entire planet. As the Silver Surfer, Norrin looked only for planets without life to feed Galactus at first, but as time went by in his eternal duty, it became increasingly difficult for him to find energy-rich worlds devoid of life. The first time he took Galactus to an inhabited planet, the guilt almost destroyed him. Galactus had to alter his mind, allowing Norrin to suppress his emotions and memories. Unfortunately, he eventually led Galactus to Earth. He initially fought against the Fantastic Four, but his dormant emotions were awakened when he met the Thing's girlfriend, Alicia Masters. She pleaded with him to spare humanity, and Norrin was reminded of his convictions. Seeing the human race's resistance and the beauty of their planet, Norrin deeply regretted his decision to take Galactus there. He fought with the Fantastic Four against Galactus to prevent the planet from being eaten. Ultimately, Galactus agreed to spare Earth, but banished the Surfer to the planet as punishment. Trapped on Earth indefinitely, Norrin struggled to adapt and lived many different adventures. He made some friends, but also many enemies, and suffered from manipulations. When Dr. Doom stole the power of Galactus, Norrin fought Doom to save Earth. However, he has also been influenced by supervillains like Psycho Man to resent humans and how they treat their planet. Norrin was temporarily a threat to humans and battled heroes like Spider-Man. A few times during his period on Earth, the Silver Surfer was briefly reunited with Shalla-Bal. Their meetings were often bittersweet, as circumstances kept forcing them apart again. For instance, she was used as a pawn by the evil demon Mephisto, who wished to imprison Norrin in the underworld as his slave. After freeing Shalla-Bal, Norrin returned to Earth. After spending a long time on Earth, the Silver Surfer became a superhero. He formed the original Defenders team alongside the Hulk, Namor the Submariner, and Doctor Strange. This team-up solidified his place among Earth's heroes, even if he was often seen as an outsider. Eventually, through a combination of his own determination and outside forces, Norrin Radd managed to break the barrier, keeping him bound to Earth. With the assistance of the Fantastic Four, he was able to find a loophole in Galactus' imprisonment. The Surfer made peace with Galactus by rescuing Frankie Ray from the Skrulls. Frankie had become the new Herald of Galactus after Norrin and was known as Nova. To thank Norrin, Galactus finally ended his exile after almost 10 years. Once free, he resumed his journeys across the cosmos. He tried to atone for the destruction he had indirectly caused, frequently battling cosmic entities such as Thanos and the Annihilation Wave. Rad revisited his homeworld, Zenla, and hoped to be reunited with Shalla-Bal. She had become the new empress of the planet and couldn't give him attention, breaking his heart. Throughout the years, Norrin Rad moved on and met other people. He has died and been resurrected multiple times for different reasons. He has also been involved with Galactus, again a few times, always trying to break free from the cosmic entity. The conflict between Norrin Rad and Galactus has been a staple of his appearances in other Marvel media as well. He's appeared in the Fantastic Four animated series as the Herald of Galactus and the Fantastic Four's ally. Norrin Rad also had his own series, The Silver Surfer, which removed the Fantastic Four from his backstory. Instead, he served as the defender of Earth against Galactus. Norrin Rad's most well-known movie appearance was in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, where he was played by Doug Jones and voiced by Lawrence Fishburne. At the end of the film, Norrin Rad seemingly sacrificed himself to destroy Galactus and save Earth, but a mid-credits scene indicates that he survived. As of his latest appearances in Marvel Comics, Norrin Rad remains a cosmic wanderer, still seeking redemption while protecting the universe from powerful threats. He was a member of the Defenders until 2021, when he became stranded from the team. Though no longer working for Galactus, the legacy of his past as a herald continues to shape his present. Norrin Rad remains one of the most fascinating and tragic figures in the Marvel Universe, forever bound to space travel beneath a silver skin. Now let's rewind and get into how Shalla-Bal went from being Norrin Rad's girlfriend to Zenla's Empress, and much more, including the female Silver Surfer. Shalla-Bal first appeared in The Silver Surfer #1, but the origin story of Shalla-Bal's powers was first told in Marvel Comics in the second Silver Surfer series from 1982. As we've mentioned, she believed she was never going to see her beloved again when he saved her, and left Zenla with Galactus on a silver surfboard. After the Silver Surfer betrayed his master to protect Earth and was exiled there, Galactus returned to Zenla to consume the planet. He mercifully gave Zen-Lavians a day to flee. Around 500 people survived, including Shalla-Bal. Galactus then turned the planet into a deserted wasteland, to which months later, the surviving Zen-Lavians returned. Mephisto once abducted Shalla-Bal and erased her memory, implanting a new identity. He made her believe she was Helena, a commoner in Latveria, on planet Earth. She became involved with Dr. Doom, who orchestrated a false marriage to her, intending to provoke a conflict between the Silver Surfer and the Fantastic Four. But Shalla-Bal later returned to Zenla. Mephisto continued to be obsessed with her and Norrin, continuously using her to corrupt the Silver Surfer's soul. He kidnapped Shalla-Bal and used her to attract the Silver Surfer into the underworld. Norrin had been freed from captivity temporarily at that point and rescued her. He then gave her a portion of his power cosmic before being taken back to Earth, which allowed her to slowly restore the glory of Zenla. She became able to return all life to Zenla's ecosystem by touch, having plants grow wherever she walked. Shalla-Bal was then made the Empress of Zenla by its people. She proved to be a natural leader, being adored by the Zen-Lavians for her unwavering loyalty to them. But the portion of cosmic power given to her by Norrin after he freed her from Mephisto apparently dissipated over time. She had other brief encounters with Norrin over the years. Unfortunately, she not only couldn't be involved with him anymore due to her new responsibilities as Empress, but they also eventually crashed against one another when she became the spiritual leader and colonizer known as the Keeper of the Great Truth of Zenla in the 2016 Silver Surfer series. She used the power of the Illuminatrix, a hybrid of magic and technology, to spread the culture of Zenla across the universe. A magical technology from Zenla, the Illuminatrix absorbs the essence of every expression made by a people, and it's capable of rewriting the culture of a planet, turning it into a replica of Zenla. Seeing Zenla as the perfect planet and culture, Shalla-Bal embarked on a journey to implement this perfection on other planets. Now wearing a full body armor and wielding an energy blaster, Shalla-Bal possessed the power of flight, and as the Keeper, her personality became much more aggressive. A protector of the helpless people of the universe, Norrin felt forced to stop her. While it's more common to see the enemies to lovers tropes in comic books and other media, Norrin Rad and Shalla-Bal lived a lovers to enemies arc instead. Now, you must be wondering, when does she become the Silver Surfer? No, the female Silver Surfer is not an invention of the MCU, but the Shalla-Bal, who becomes the Herald of Galactus, is not the one from Earth 616 who we have just discussed. There is an alternate version of Shalla-Bal from Earth 9997, also known as Earth X. Just like her 616 counterpart, she was once the lover of Norrin Radd on the planet Zen-La. The coming of Galactus and the deal between the cosmic entity and Norrin Radd also mirrored the Silver Surfer's origins in the main timeline. But on Earth 9997, Galactus is eventually destroyed. The Silver Surfer soon realized that without Galactus, the cosmos started to expand uncontrollably and became out of balance. Franklin Richards, the son of Reed Richards and Sue Storm of the Fantastic Four, used the high evolutionary equipment to essentially become the new Galactus. He had all memory of his past life as a human being erased, beginning a journey through the cosmos with the Silver Surfer, believing to have always been Galactus. As the new Galactus, Franklin reunited Norrin and Shalla-Bal, giving her the same cosmic powers he has and making them his twin heralds. The Celestials, however, decided to attack Earth, and the new Galactus answered a call from his home planet to save them. Shalla-Bal, as the Silver Surfer, died in that battle. Norrin Radd was devastated when he eventually sacrificed himself later in the same conflict. He was happy to be reunited with his beloved in the realm of the dead. The big question now is, how will the MCU use all of this? We already know Julia Garner has been cast as the Shalla-Bal version of the Silver Surfer in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie, which will also include her master, Galactus. While she has occasionally wielded cosmic powers, such as in the Earth X series where she assumes the mantle of the Silver Surfer, these instances are relatively rare. The MCU adaptation appears to be reimagining Shalla-Bal's role, making her the sole herald of Galactus. The movie seems to be set in a parallel universe to the main timeline, suggesting it will be a unique situation, much like Earth X in Marvel Comics. However, we don't think the Fantastic Four movie will be set on the MCU's version of Earth X. In that series, Norrin Radd was still the Silver Surfer first, and Shalla-Bal joined him later. We think that Norrin Radd may not even exist or be the secondary Silver Surfer in this new reality within the MCU. This creative decision allows for a more unpredictable plot, which won't reflect previous Fantastic Four adaptations, and won't be strictly accurate to the source material. We suspect Julia Garner's Shalla-Bal will be a mix of the three characters we have discussed in this video. As the primary Silver Surfer, she could have first ascended to the role of Empress of Zen-La before getting cosmic powers. Feeling the need to protect the planet as its Empress, she would have a great motive to strike a deal with Galactus. If Norrin Radd exists in this universe, he can be the Empress's lover, mirroring her role in his origin story on Earth 16. Norrin would be the one left behind in Zen-La, while Shalla-Bal travels the cosmos searching for Galactus's next meal. Then one day, much like what happened to Norrin in the comics, Shalla-Bal would lead Galactus to Earth. The planet Earth in this timeline is likely unique to the MCU, in which people live a retro-futuristic version of 616, as we have been seeing in the footage and promotional images released so far. And since we are talking about the trailer and posters, it's important to note how Marvel Studios is keeping Julia Garner's look as the Silver Surfer a total secret. Not so much as a glimpse of Shalla-Bal from the set of Fantastic Four. First Steps has been seen so far. When discussing Wolfman in an interview with Screen Rant in January 2025, the actress commented on her Shalla-Bal look by simply stating, "It's shiny." She doubled down on the secrecy, saying fans will have to wait and see to find out what her character is all about. The trailer showing Galactus but not the Silver Surfer feels a little odd. Could Shalla-Bal have such a small role in the story that she didn't need to appear in any promotion? Or could she be so important that the trailer hides her completely to keep the plot unpredictable? For now, all we can do is speculate. But one thing we can be sure of is this. With such a massively talented actress like Julia Garner cast in the role, it's safe to assume Marvel Studios is paying close attention to this character's development. With Shalla-Bal having connections to Norrin Radd, Galactus, Doctor Doom, Mephisto, and many other important characters in the Marvel Universe who have been or will be part of the MCU, introducing her now may seem like a strange choice, but it can ultimately connect the upcoming Fantastic Four movies to other storylines. Until her MCU origins are revealed on July 25th release, we'll keep discussing plot theories here at CBR.
Have I truly found you?
It is really you.
Now tell us, did you already know Shalla-Bal's origin story? Do you think the MCU will portray her in a way that's accurate to her comic book roots? Leave a comment down below. Until next time, thanks for watching CBR.
What makes a superhero team stand the test of time? Well, enter the Fantastic Four, the Marvel first family who've captivated fans for decades with their mix of high-stakes adventure and heartfelt but chaotic family dynamics. Today on CBR, we're exploring everything to know about the Fantastic Four and why they remain legends of the superhero genre. Let's dive in. Let's take it way back. The Fantastic Four first exploded onto the scene in 1961's Fantastic Four #1, marking the start of Marvel's first family. Back in the thick of the space race, Reed Richards, a brilliant scientist with dreams of reaching the stars, was determined to outpace the communists and make history. He pulled together a crew of trusted companions: his fiancée, Sue Storm, her fiery younger brother, Johnny Storm, and his best friend and ace pilot, Ben Grimm. Together, they secretly launched a mission into space, hoping to be the first to explore the unknown. But things didn't go as planned. While in space, the crew got hit by a blast of cosmic radiation that their ship's shielding couldn't protect them from. They had no choice but to make an emergency crash landing back on Earth. At first, they thought it was just a close call, but before long, they started noticing some serious changes. Their bodies had been altered in the ways they couldn't understand. Instead of freaking out or hiding away, the crew decided to do what any group of superheroes would do. They decided to embrace their new reality. They chose to use their unexpected abilities to help others, making the world a safer place. And just like that, the Fantastic Four were born. Their origin story is a mix of ambition, cosmic mishaps, and a whole lot of heart, creating the blueprint for superhero teams to come. It all starts with an adventurous space mission that ended up changing their lives forever. Now, with their new powers and a shared sense of purpose, Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben were ready to take on the world. But it wasn't just about stopping supervillains and saving the day. It was about how they faced the challenges that came with being different. Together, they grew from a team into a family, relying on each other in ways only they could understand. Reed Richards isn't just the leader of the Fantastic Four. He's one of the smartest people in the entire Marvel universe. A brilliant scientist, engineer, and inventor, he's constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible. From groundbreaking discoveries in physics to designing advanced technology like the Baxter Building and the Fantastic Car, Reed's genius has shaped the superhero world. But his intelligence is both a gift and a curse. He gets so caught up in his work that he sometimes forgets about the people around him, including his wife, Sue Storm. While he always has good intentions, his obsession with solving problems, whether scientific mysteries or world-threatening dangers, can make him seem distant. Deep down, though, Reed is driven by a desire to protect his family and make the world a better place. After being exposed to cosmic radiation, Reed's body became as flexible as his mind. He can stretch, expand, and reshape himself in impossible ways. Whether he's reaching across a city block, squeezing through tight spaces, or flattening himself to avoid an attack, his abilities make him nearly untouchable in battle. His body is incredibly durable, allowing him to absorb impacts that would seriously injure most people. He can even mold his hands into different shapes, like tools or shields, depending on what the situation calls for. Some people underestimate his powers compared to the more flashy abilities of his teammates, but Reed's elasticity gives him a level of adaptability that makes him one of the most formidable heroes out there. Even his brain benefits. His ability to stretch his thinking allows him to process complex problems faster than ever. Despite his flaws, Reed is the heart and mind of the Fantastic Four. His leadership, intelligence, and determination keep the team together, even when things seem impossible. Whether he's battling cosmic threats or unlocking the secrets of the universe, Reed Richards is always looking toward the future, ready to push beyond the limits of what's possible. Sue Storm might not seem as flashy as some of her teammates, but she's easily one of the most powerful members of the Fantastic Four. While her ability to turn invisible is cool, her true strength lies in her mastery of force fields. At first, Sue could only bend light around her body to disappear, but over time, she learned to generate and manipulate energy fields for both defense and offense. Her force fields are incredibly versatile. She can create barriers that protect her from almost any attack. whether it's from energy blasts or physical punches from powerful enemies. But Sue doesn't just use her powers to shield herself. As she's grown more skilled, she's learned to create force field constructs that allow her to trap enemies, form weapons, and even lift objects. She can generate shock waves with her force fields, making her just as effective in an all-out fight as any other member of the team. Whether she's stopping a bomb or making a super-powered enemy float in the air, Sue's powers give her tons of creative options in any battle. Beyond her abilities, Sue is the heart of the Fantastic Four. She's often the calm, grounded presence when tensions run high between Reed, Johnny, and Ben. Sue is incredibly protective of her family, and she's the glue that keeps the team together, making sure they stay focused on the bigger picture. Her relationship with Reed Richards is central to her story, but Sue isn't just defined by him. She's strong, smart, and independent, often showing leadership when it's needed most. Sue Storm might have started as the quieter member of the team, but she's come into her own as one of the most powerful and respected superheroes in the Marvel Universe. With her combination of strength, intelligence, and compassion, Sue is a true force to be reckoned with. Johnny Storm is hands down one of the most fun and wild members of the Fantastic Four. From the moment he gets his powers, he's got the flashiest abilities, literally. Johnny can set his entire body on fire at will, shooting flames and turning himself into a human fireball. His powers suit his daredevil personality perfectly. He's always ready for action and loves the thrill of being a superhero. Whether he's launching fireballs, creating fiery blasts, or flying around like a rocket, Johnny's flames give him tons of ways to fight and cause chaos. Speaking of flying, Johnny doesn't just walk or run, he soars through the air using his fire to propel himself. It's like he's always showing off, but hey, who can blame him when he's literally blazing across the sky? His flame powers are incredibly versatile. He can burn through almost anything, create fiery shields for protection, or light up an entire area when the team's in a pinch. But more than anything, Johnny loves the feeling of power that comes with controlling flames, and he's never shy about using them to get the job done. Aside from his powers, Johnny is a total wild card. He's impulsive, reckless, and often jumps into situations without thinking things through. That can rub people the wrong way, especially Reed, who likes to plan everything. But even though Johnny sometimes gets a little too carried away, he's always got his teammates' backs. He's fiercely loyal and will do anything to protect his family, even if it means charging headfirst into danger. His famous catchphrase, "Flame on!"
Sorry, what now?
says it all. He's ready to take on whatever comes his way with full force. Johnny Storm is a bundle of energy and excitement, and his fiery powers and even hotter personality make him an unforgettable part of the Fantastic Four. Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, definitely had it rough compared to the rest of the Fantastic Four. While the others' powers were a bit easier to get used to, Ben's transformation was a whole different story. After being hit with cosmic radiation, his body turned into solid orange rock, and he was basically nearly indestructible. On the outside, he's the team's powerhouse, super strong and tough enough to handle any punch thrown at him. But inside, he's struggling. His new appearance makes him feel like an outcast, and he spends a lot of time wrestling with his self-image. He might be one of the toughest guys around, but that doesn't mean it's easy for him to look in the mirror. Even though he looks like a walking boulder, Ben's heart is as big as his muscles. He's a tough guy with a soft spot, always looking out for his friends and teammates, even when his appearance makes him feel like an outsider. He's not afraid to crack jokes or show off his rough and tumble attitude, but deep down, Ben's always dealing with that struggle of trying to accept who he's become. Still, no matter what's going on inside, you can always count on him to jump into the fight when it matters. He might be the team's muscle, but he's also the one who'll throw himself into danger without hesitation if it means keeping his family safe. Ben's powers give him some serious edge. His superhuman strength and tough-as-nails durability make him pretty much unbeatable when it comes to physical fights. Whether he's smashing through walls, slugging it out with bad guys, or just throwing down to protect his team, Ben's there to handle the heavy lifting. And when it's time for a fight, you'll hear his famous battle cry,
It's clobbering time.
Ben Grimm is the tough, funny, and loyal heart of the Fantastic Four. He might look like a giant rock, but his loyalty, humor, and determination make him one of the team's MVPs. You definitely don't want to mess with the Thing. He's got the strength, the smarts, and the heart to back it up. The Fantastic Four's mission is all about pushing the limits of adventure, science, and of course, saving the day. They're not just the average superhero team. They're explorers, protectors, and a family that sticks together no matter what comes their way. Sure, their origin story started with a freak space accident, but their mission has grown into something much bigger than just fighting enemies. First and foremost, the Fantastic Four are dedicated to protecting Earth from threats that are literally out of this world. From battling supervillains with world-ending plans to stopping cosmic entities that could wipe out everything we know, they've seen it all. Every time something or someone threatens humanity, they're the first ones to step up and fight back. Whether it's a rampaging monster from another dimension or an alien overlord, the team is always there, ready to take action. It's not just about stopping evil, it's about making sure Earth stays safe from the bizarre, dangerous, and sometimes downright weird threats lurking out there. But their mission doesn't end at just saving the world. The Fantastic Four are all about exploration. They're constantly out there diving into the unknown, whether it's exploring new dimensions, discovering alien worlds, or just testing the limits of science. They are a team that's all about pushing boundaries, and they have a relentless curiosity about the cosmos. When they aren't fighting villains, you can bet they're off on some wild scientific expedition, uncovering the mysteries of the universe, and sometimes getting into even crazier situations in the process. Then there's Reed Richards, the big brain of the bunch. He's a walking supercomputer. As the leader of the team, Reed's genius intellect is at the heart of their exploration. From inventing gadgets to outsmarting bad guys, his scientific prowess has saved the day more times than anyone can count. But it's not just about his smarts. It's about how that thirst for knowledge drives the whole team to explore the unknown and take on threats beyond their understanding. Now, the Fantastic Four's mission isn't just about science and fighting evil, it's also about family. This team is basically Marvel's original family dynamic. Reed and Sue have an epic love story. Johnny and Ben have a bromance that's full of jokes and good times, and together, they're more than just a team. They're a unit. Even when they're facing down some crazy cosmic entity or having a rough day, their bond is what keeps them going. Of course, the Fantastic Four also deals with some tough ethical choices. They've got the power to change the world, but with that comes some serious responsibility. They're constantly grappling with how far they should go to protect Earth, and they often face some hard decisions about when to step in and when to hold back. But at the end of the day, they believe in the potential of humanity, and that keeps them fighting, no matter what. The Fantastic Four have always been known for facing off against some of the craziest villains in the Marvel Universe. At the top of the list is Dr. Doom, aka Victor Von Doom. This guy is basically the definition of a villain. He's not just a genius scientist, but also a sorcerer, with an ego the size of a planet. Doom's rivalry with Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, goes way back, and he's constantly trying to one-up him. His obsession with power and domination is what usually puts him in direct conflict with the Fantastic Four, making him the team's #1 enemy. Next up, we've got Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds. This cosmic powerhouse isn't evil in the traditional sense. He's more of a natural force, like a cosmic hurricane. His main problem? He needs to eat planets to survive, and Earth is often on the menu. The Fantastic Four have had to step up to stop him from annihilating their home more than once. Despite the team's best efforts, it's never an easy fight when a giant world eater shows up. The Skrulls are another huge threat. These shape-shifting aliens are notorious for causing chaos on Earth, and their ability to mimic anyone makes them incredibly dangerous. The Fantastic Four have faced them on numerous occasions, often finding themselves battling not just these aliens, but also the paranoia and distrust they spread. It's tough to fight what you can't even see, especially when a Skrull could be masquerading as your best friend, or even a government official. Then there's Annihilus, a ruler from the negative zone, who's just as bad as he sounds. He's a massive, insect-like tyrant with an army ready to take over anything in their path. His main goal is to expand his control into other dimensions, which often brings him into conflict with the Fantastic Four, especially since his plans tend to be catastrophic for Earth. The Mole Man, one of the team's earliest foes, is basically the king of the underground. He leads a bunch of subterranean monsters and has it out for the surface world. While he's not as menacing as Doom or Galactus, his grudge against the Fantastic Four is personal, and his underground lairs often result in some chaotic, large-scale battles. Lastly, while the Inhumans aren't outright enemies, they've had their share of disagreements with the Fantastic Four. Their often misunderstood and sometimes violent encounters, especially with Black Bolt, have added a layer of complexity to the team's interactions with other powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. All these enemies have given the Fantastic Four more than their fair share of trouble. But it's not just about brute force. These villains challenge the team in ways that go beyond punching and kicking. They test their morals, their bonds as a family, and what it truly means to be heroes. The Fantastic Four proved that even the wildest problems can bring a family together. After their cosmic accident, they became an unstoppable team, saving the world time and time again. Their bond shows that when you've got each other's backs, no challenge is too big to tackle.
We can't run away from our responsibilities and the people we need to protect. This is who we are.
Which member of the Fantastic Four are you most excited to see in the new film? Tell us what you think about them in the comments, and remember to subscribe.
The Fantastic Four are one of Marvel's most influential teams, shaping the entire universe with their groundbreaking stories. Today on CBR, we share 10 secrets about them. The Fantastic Four might be made up of the classic core team, Reed Richards, Ben Grimm, Johnny Storm, and Sue Storm Richards, but they've had their fair share of guest stars over the years. Whether it's one member stepping out for a while or the whole team being replaced, there's been no shortage of new faces. For example, She-Hulk took over as the Thing for a stretch. Also, in one wild storyline, Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Spider-Man, and the Hulk all swapped in as temporary Fantastic Four members. It's like Marvel's all-star team, just without the fancy uniforms. A lot of casual fans might not know about some of the more under-the-radar details, especially if they're only familiar with the team from the movies. We all know those didn't exactly do the team justice. One thing that often flies under the radar is Reed and Sue's kids, Franklin and Valeria. Franklin is a ridiculously powerful mutant. We're talking reality-bending powers, and Valeria is a super genius. So yeah, they're kind of a big deal when it comes to the team. All in all, the Fantastic Four are way more than just the classic lineup you see on the surface, and their roster has had some serious nerdy shakeups over the years. It's one of the best teams in Marvel, and heroes are always eager to join, even for a little while. The Fantastic Four might seem like they're all about fresh ideas, but one member, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, actually has roots that go way back. The original Human Torch first appeared in Marvel Comics #1 in 1939, back when the company was still known as Timely Comics. But here's the twist. This Torch wasn't Johnny Storm at all. It was an android created by a scientist. This first version of the Human Torch was more like an early sci-fi character, a lot less the wisecracking, fire-wielding hero we know today. Fast forward a couple of decades, and the android Torch was retconned into the Marvel Universe. In Fantastic Four Annual #4, the Mad Thinker reactivates the original android, tying it into the newer Marvel continuity. It was a clever way to bring the old-school Timely character into the fold without ignoring the history. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, the guys who basically built the Marvel Universe, weren't just about creating new heroes, they also brought back old Timely Comics characters like Captain America and Namor and updated them for modern readers. So while Johnny Storm is the Human Torch we all know and love, it's cool to think that his character's name and powers were kind of borrowed from this older pre-Marvel version. It's one of those neat little Easter eggs in Marvel history that makes you appreciate just how deep their lore really goes. MCU fans were introduced to Agatha Harkness through WandaVision, where she played a key role in shaping the story of Scarlet Witch. However, Agatha's comic book debut was way earlier, in Fantastic Four #94, 1970. In the comics, she wasn't the villainous figure she seemed to be on the show, but rather the governess of Franklin Richards, the young son of Reed and Sue Storm. Agatha's main job was to protect Franklin from mystical threats, showcasing her powers as a mysterious figure with knowledge of the supernatural. At first, Agatha was a bit of an enigma, with her true nature hidden from both the Fantastic Four and readers. It wasn't until later that her true power was revealed. She was one of the most powerful magic users in all of Marvel Comics. This made her a fascinating character, not just as a caretaker for Franklin, but as a skilled practitioner of magic. Agatha's role as Franklin's governess didn't last forever, though. Eventually, she became an important mentor for Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, teaching her the mystical arts and helping Wanda harness her reality-altering abilities. Agatha's involvement with both Franklin and Wanda solidified her status as one of the more complex and powerful magical characters in the Marvel Universe. So, in the MCU, Agatha held a more antagonistic role towards Wanda because Agatha was trying to steal her powers, setting up WandaVision. However, Agatha does take on a mentor-type role toward the teen Billy Kaplan, aka William Maximoff, albeit a more nuanced one where she shifts from friend to foe. While Billy is a teenager, not a young child, there are some parallels between his relationship with Agatha in the MCU and Franklin's relationship with Agatha in the comics. While MCU fans got a taste of Agatha's powers, her comic book history reveals a far richer and more intricate character. The relationship between the Fantastic Four and their arch-nemesis, Dr. Doom, is far from straightforward. While Doom has been a constant thorn in the team's side for decades, the dynamic between him and the Fantastic Four is far more complicated than a typical hero-villain rivalry. Doom, the brilliant and tyrannical ruler of Latveria, has his own twisted moral code. He wants nothing more than to defeat Reed Richards and prove his superiority, but he draws the line at using just any means to achieve his goals. His actions are often guided by a sense of honor, albeit a warped one. A particularly shocking and tense moment in the Fantastic Four's history comes when Susan Storm is pregnant with her and Reed's second child. During complications with the pregnancy, Reed is unavailable, leaving Johnny Storm desperate for help. Johnny reluctantly turns to the one person he never thought he would seek assistance from, Victor Von Doom. In a surprising twist, Doom agrees to help, but only on one condition: after he safely delivers the child and saves both Sue and the baby, Reed returns to find Doom holding his newborn daughter. To everyone's shock, Doom names the baby Valeria after his long-lost love. This bizarre act of kindness from Doom adds another layer of complexity to his relationship with the Fantastic Four, showing that even the most villainous figures have a sense of honor and unexpected motives. The Fantastic Four and the Avengers are two of Marvel's biggest teams, and it's no surprise that their members have teamed up over the years. While the Fantastic Four's roster has stayed pretty steady, the Avengers have had a constantly rotating lineup of heroes, meaning there's been plenty of crossover between the teams. In Avengers number 300, Sue Storm and Reed Richards temporarily joined the Avengers, which was a big deal at the time since the Fantastic Four usually does their own thing. Then there's Ben Grimm, who's been on multiple Avengers teams, including the New Avengers in the 2000s. His tough-as-nails attitude made him a great fit, even though he's more used to rolling with the Fantastic Four. The most recent addition to the Avengers from the Fantastic Four family was Johnny Storm, Human Torch, who joined the Avengers Unity division in Uncanny Avengers number 1. This was huge, since Johnny's always been tied to the Fantastic Four, but now he was hanging out with Captain America and Wolverine. It just goes to show that in the Marvel Universe, the lines between teams blur all the time, and it's always awesome to see the Fantastic Four mix it up with Earth's mightiest heroes. During Jonathan Hickman's legendary run on Fantastic Four, he shook up the entire dynamic of the team with some bold moves that would change the Fantastic Four's future. One of the most shocking moments was the apparent death of Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. His loss hit the team hard, and it caused them to seriously rethink their roles as both superheroes and explorers. Instead of the usual fight for justice approach, Hickman took the Fantastic Four in a new direction, focusing more on science, education, and the future. This shift made sense, especially with the growing number of kids in their care, most notably Reed and Sue's children, Franklin and Valeria. The Fantastic Four left behind their traditional superhero identity and started to lean into their roles as educators and mentors for the next generation. This new approach birthed the Future Foundation, a new kind of team made up of brilliant minds and young heroes. It wasn't just about fighting villains anymore, it was about shaping the future. New members like Spider-Man, Dragon Man, and the Mutant Leech joined the ranks, creating an eclectic mix of talent and power. Hickman's run completely redefined the Fantastic Four turning them into a team focused on innovation and hope rather than just superheroics. It was a bold reinvention of Marvel's first family, and it set the stage for a whole new kind of heroism that was both exciting and deeply meaningful. Kang the Conqueror is usually known as a big-time Avengers villain, but did you know he actually squared off against the Fantastic Four before he ever even met Earth's mightiest heroes? Well, sort of. One of Kang's most powerful variants, Ramatut, faced off against the Fantastic Four in ancient Egypt in Fantastic Four number 19. This battle actually happened chronologically before his first appearance with the Avengers, and it even predates Kang's debut by a full year. In Fantastic Four number 19, Ramatut travels back in time to ancient Egypt and challenges the Fantastic Four with his advanced technology and knowledge of the future. The Fantastic Four, naturally, are able to outsmart him, but it's a wild first encounter with a future version of a villain who would later become one of the Avengers' most notorious enemies. It's kinda cool to think that Kang's very first run-in with Marvel's top teams didn't even happen in the timeline we're most familiar with. A bit later, Kang's true identity and different variants, including Ramatut, would be retconned into the same character. That means the version of Kang we see in the Fantastic Four comic was really just another variant of the time-traveling conqueror we'd later know in the Avengers. So even though Ramatut faced the Fantastic Four first, it was all part of Kang's grand time-bending plans. When Sue Storm first debuted as a member of the Fantastic Four in 1961, she was known as the Invisible Girl. At the time, it made sense. She was one of the younger members of the team, and her powers were still developing. But over the years, as Sue's role in the team grew, and her character became more complex, the name Invisible Girl started to feel a little outdated. It wasn't until the 1980s, during John Byrne's iconic run, that Sue would make the change to the title that better suited her, Invisible Woman. In Fantastic Four number 284, Sue officially adopts her new title, reflecting her growth as a superhero and a person. She had long been one of the most powerful members of the team, often saving the day with her incredible abilities, and had become more than just a supporting character. Sue was also a wife to Reed Richards, and a mother to their children, Franklin and Valeria, showing that she had many roles to balance, both in the family and as a leader of the team. In the early 1990s, after Reed was thought to be dead, Sue took on the role of team leader, proving once again that she was more than just a powerful force on the team, she was the heart of it. Sue has continued to be one of the most powerful and respected women in the Marvel Universe, showing that the change from Invisible Girl to Invisible Woman was a natural evolution. While the Fantastic Four may be some of the most powerful heroes in the Marvel Universe, their abilities still get overshadowed by one of their own, Franklin Richards. As the son of Reed Richards and Sue Storm, Franklin isn't just your average kid. He's one of the most powerful beings on Earth, and that's saying a lot in the world of superheroes. Born with his powers, Franklin is classified as a mutant and is on the Omega level scale, making him one of the most ridiculously strong mutants around. Franklin's power set is absolutely incredible, mostly revolving around reality manipulation. He has the ability to create entire universes, reshape reality, and bend the fabric of existence itself. And it's not just some casual telekinesis. Franklin can literally reshape the cosmos at will. Even though his youth means he doesn't have full control over his abilities, it's clear he's ridiculously powerful, and there are several adult versions of him that show just how ridiculously strong he can get. One of Franklin's most jaw-dropping feats was when he summoned Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds, and made him his personal herald. Yes, Franklin made Galactus his own servant. This moment blew readers' minds and proved just how mind-bendingly powerful this kid is. So yeah, while the Fantastic Four is an epic team, Franklin definitely steals the spotlight when it comes to raw power. While Franklin has not been confirmed yet for the MCU, his birth in the future does seem likely. In the franchise so far, there have been other characters with the ability to bend reality, like the late Scarlet Witch and her son, Billy. Billy's complicated relationship with Agatha Harkness could be setting up an interesting mentorship for Franklin in the future, where instead of Agatha being his governess, Billy may take on the role of babysitter and mentor to the young hero, possibly leading him to similarly shocking shows of power in the MCU's future. The Fantastic Four have been at the heart of the Marvel Universe since their debut in 1961, and it's safe to say that a huge chunk of the Marvel world as we know it wouldn't exist without them. As Marvel's first family, they didn't just fight bad guys, they helped shape the entire landscape of Marvel Comics. A lot of the iconic characters, events, and civilizations that fans love today got their start in the pages of Fantastic Four comics. For example, Galactus, the world-devouring cosmic entity, and Silver Surfer, his herald. Both made made their first appearances in Fantastic Four stories. The Watcher, a mysterious and all-knowing cosmic being, also debuted in the same series. These characters went on to become major players in the larger Marvel universe, but without the Fantastic Four, they might never have existed. The Fantastic Four were also responsible for introducing entire civilizations. The Skrulls, those shape-shifting aliens that caused all sorts of chaos in Marvel storylines, were first introduced in Fantastic Four #2. The Inhumans, a race of super-powered beings with ties to the Kree, were also established in the pages of Fantastic Four comics. Without these stories, we wouldn't have had epic events like Secret Wars, Secret Invasion, or Ultimate Invasion, all of which were influenced by the groundwork laid by the Fantastic Four. But it doesn't stop there. The iconic character of Black Panther, who later became a global sensation in the MCU, was first introduced in Fantastic Four, #52. The debut of T'Challa, the King of Wakanda, marked a pivotal moment in Marvel history, and without the Fantastic Four, the world would have never seen this powerful and inspirational hero come to life. So when fans rave about Wakanda, Galactus, or the Skrulls, they owe a huge debt to the Fantastic Four. This team built the foundation for so much of the Marvel Universe, and it's no exaggeration to say they are the most important superhero team in Marvel history. Without the Fantastic Four, the entire Marvel Universe would look drastically different. They truly deserve respect and recognition as the backbone of so many epic stories and beloved characters.
Kirby, how's that sauce coming?
Yeah, I'll be the judge of that.
The Fantastic Four aren't just an average superhero squad, they're basically the architects of the entire Marvel Universe. From introducing iconic characters to creating whole civilizations and shaping massive events, their legacy is everywhere. Who knew they were behind so much?
Sunday at 7, on the dot, no matter what. We're all here.
Which of these Fantastic Four secrets are you most excited about possibly becoming part of the MCU? Tell us in the comments below, and remember to subscribe.
Sort of inspiration to build a whole new world that is part the New York that you know from the 60s and something you've never seen before.
Today, we're diving into Fantastic Four: First Steps, set to be released on July 25th, 2025. Marking the beginning of the end of the multiverse saga in the MCU, the Fantastic Four reboot kicks off the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Phase 6. With all we know so far, it's clear this movie will play a pivotal role in shaping Marvel's future. Fantastic Four: First Steps is directed by Matt Shakman, known for WandaVision. As confirmed by Marvel Studios, it will be a period movie with a retro-futuristic 1960s aesthetic, which was hinted at in the first image of the new Fantastic Four released last Valentine's Day. Four of the very first Marvel superheroes, the Fantastic Four's debut happened in 1961's Fantastic Four #1. We can expect the movie to be mostly or entirely set in New York in an alternative 1960s, adapting an early version of the team from the comics we haven't yet seen in movies. The choice carries on the MCU's recent trend of exploring alternative dimensions, seen in WandaVision, Captain Marvel, Loki, and Werewolf by Night. The reboot will exist within its own reality until the following movies of Phase 6 further develop this iteration of the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four will serve as their introduction. From there, the characters will then cross over to the Russo brothers' Avengers movies dimension. Notably, this film will not be an origin story like previous live-action adaptations of the team. Instead, they will be already established heroes and encounter one of their first comics' enemies, Galactus, the planet-eating giant entity first seen in Fantastic Four #48 in 1966. One of the biggest recent reveals surrounding First Steps is the casting of Ralph Ineson as Galactus and Julia Garner as the female Silver Surfer, a version of the character embodied by Shalla-Bal. First appearing in 1968's Silver Surfer #1 as a lover to Norrin Radd, the original Silver Surfer. She's the Empress of Zenla, the Silver Surfer's home planet that is spared by Galactus in exchange for his servitude. The character becomes a version of the Silver Surfer in an alternative reality in 2000's Earth X #12, which fuels speculation about this movie being set in an X type of reality. The film will not only feature Galactus, it will also introduce Dr. Doom, who has long been intertwined with the Fantastic Four in the comics. Since the announcement of Robert Downey Jr.'s casting, fans are pointing to Marvel's What If storyline from 2010, where Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom switch bodies. Fans are looking for the possible ways for Robert Downey Jr.'s role in this movie to be directly related to Iron Man in some capacity. The addition of Dr. Doom to Fantastic Four: First Steps ties in perfectly with the reveal of Dr. Doom as the main antagonist protagonist in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, the 2026 and 2027 movies that are bringing the Russo brothers back to Marvel. The Fantastic Four will likely be at the forefront of the upcoming Avengers movies to conclude a conflict with Doctor Doom that begins in Fantastic Four First Steps. The presence of Galactus, Doom, and Shalla-Bal made fans think of the Fantastic Four storyline from 1975. The Silver Surfer rises up against Galactus and is trapped on planet Earth as punishment. Mephisto sees this as an opportunity to defeat the Surfer, making Shalla-Bal believe the illusion she's a human named Helena, and makes her Doctor Doom's fake wife. Although it's unlikely that this particular story is the main source material, Marvel often picks and mixes elements from existing comics to come up with a fresh plot that can serve as inspiration for something new. In terms of tone, we can expect one of the more lighthearted entries in the MCU, in contrast with the Deadpool and Wolverine film and what the upcoming Secret Wars might be. Kirby, the flying car, and time travel will surely help give it a fun sci-fi adventure atmosphere. And while the movie is set in its own universe that is seemingly detached from any existing MCU narrative, it will introduce significant elements and characters that will influence future films. This could mean the movie will include the Fantastic Four discovering and interacting with alternative realities, or the multiverse element might only come with a single Doctor Doom scene in the post-credits. Either way, the information shared during the San Diego Comic-Con this year clarified the multiverse will definitely be on Reed Richards' mind. It's the 1960s. We don't need to know anything about the MCU. The decade is a synonym with optimism. Seems like we can be optimistic about Fantastic Four First Steps. Stay tuned as we continue to unravel the mysteries surrounding the upcoming movie and how this iconic team will shape the future of the MCU. What are your predictions for Fantastic Four First Steps? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching CBR.
Fantastic Four First Steps is set to unlock new dimensions, epic crossovers, and high-stakes battles that will alter the MCU's trajectory. Today on CBR, we'll dive into it. Let's get started. The MCU has entered the cosmic and multiversal era, where alternate dimensions, timelines, and universes are the new playground. With films like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Loki already dipping their toes into the infinite, the Fantastic Four are perfectly positioned to be the ultimate bridge between the earthbound heroes we know and the vast, mind-blowing cosmic realms that are just beginning to unfold. The Fantastic Four's origin is straight-up spacefaring, with cosmic radiation transforming them into the powerhouse team we know and love. This opens the door for integrating them seamlessly into the MCU's rapidly expanding cosmic side. This will be crucial for the huge conflicts on the horizon. Think about it. Galactus, a world-devouring force of nature. The Silver Surfer, a cosmic wanderer with deep existential questions. And the Watchers, cosmic beings who oversee everything. All these characters have the potential to not only elevate the MCU, but to bring new layers to its mythology. A successful Fantastic Four film would be the perfect gateway to unleash these cosmic threats, expanding the multiverse narrative. Galactus would be the ultimate universal threat, requiring a massive team-up of MCU heroes, the cosmic ones, and maybe even the Avengers, to take him down. Meanwhile, the Silver Surfer, who used to serve Galactus, could bring intense, philosophical cosmic adventure to the table, pushing the MCU into some deep, thought-provoking territory. The Fantastic Four's connections don't stop there. They've crossed paths with the X-Men and the Avengers multiple times in the comics, and with the X-Men coming to the MCU, the Fantastic Four could act as the perfect bridge to unite these two legendary teams. Without them, the MCU risks losing a natural way to integrate cosmic and earthbound storylines, leaving its multiverse saga feeling fractured and confusing. This could seriously slow down the MCU's growth and its exploration of the mind-bending complexities ahead. Fantastic Four is the key to unlocking that next big chapter. The Fantastic Four aren't just a team. They're a game changer for the MCU, bringing an all-star cast of superpowered individuals and villains that will crank up the stakes, especially as the MCU gears up for its next big saga. With Avengers-level threats, Each member of the Fantastic Four has a unique power that sets them apart from any heroes we've seen so far in the MCU. Reed Richards, one of the most brilliant minds in the entire Marvel Universe, is a scientific genius whose intellect allows him to unravel the mysteries of the universe. His stretchy powers are more than just a quirky combat trick. Imagine the tactical advantages he could bring to the table in epic battles. His brilliance could lead to groundbreaking tech, time travel shenanigans, or even opening interdimensional portals that could ripple through the entire MCU, pushing it into exciting new directions. Sue Storm's powers to turn invisible and create force fields make her a formidable fighter on both offense and defense. Her shields could be the key to saving Earth from multiversal threats like Galactus. Imagine her protecting the planet from cosmic-level devastation or defending against time-traveling villains. Her powers are a perfect balance of strategy and strength, and a must-have for any future Avengers-style throwdowns. Johnny Storm's fire-based powers bring a fiery burst of energy and charisma to the team. He's not just a walking flamethrower. His powers reflect the youthful, adventurous spirit of the Fantastic Four. Johnny adds a dynamic energy to the MCU that could inject some much-needed levity and excitement, especially alongside more brooding heroes. Plus, who doesn't want to see him zooming through the sky on fire, throwing fireballs like a true hero? Ben Grimm's transformation into the Mighty Thing is filled with emotional depth. His struggle with identity and self-acceptance adds real heart to the team, making him more than just a big, punchy rock monster. His journey speaks to the themes of resilience, and his battles with his own humanity would resonate deeply with the MCU's ever-evolving roster of characters. Ben adds the perfect mix of heart and muscle, making him one of the most compelling heroes in Marvel. The Fantastic Four aren't just about the heroes. They come with a killer lineup of villains who could shake the MCU to its core. Leading the charge is Dr. Doom, one of the most complex and dangerous foes in Marvel lore, a master of both technology and magic. Doom isn't just a villain, he's a political mastermind and philosophical force whose quest for power could have massive repercussions across the multiverse. A villain of his caliber could rival Thanos or Kang the Conqueror, bringing an entirely new level of complexity to the MCU. Failing to integrate these iconic heroes and villains into the MCU would be a huge missed opportunity. Without Dr. Doom, the MCU risks recycling the same old threats, leaving fans feeling like they've seen it all before. The Fantastic Four are the key to injecting fresh, powerful characters and villains into the MCU, pushing it into new and exciting directions and ensuring it doesn't stagnate in the next big phase. Well, teams like the Avengers and the X-Men are built around assembling the most powerful individuals. The Fantastic Four are bound by something deeper: family. Love, loyalty, and the unbreakable bonds of kinship are at the heart of their dynamic, making them superheroes, yes, but also relatable humans at their core. This sets them apart from other iconic teams in the MCU whose dynamics often revolve around individuals with distinct motivations, complex personalities, and sometimes major internal drama. Take the Avengers, for example. They're the ultimate team-up of superstars, with each member bringing their own motivations, struggles, and unique personalities. They clash, they argue, but they ultimately work together because the fate of the world, or multiverse, is on the line. The Guardians of the Galaxy are another team of misfits, but their dynamic is more about chaotic humor, hilarious bickering, and forming friendships while saving the galaxy. It's fun, it's wild, but it's also more about finding a family in the chaos. Then you've got the X-Men, another group of heroes with a shared cause, but their internal battles are often framed by societal struggles, discrimination, and deep personal issues. While the X-Men might fight together for equality and survival, their team dynamic frequently shows division and internal conflict. Fantastic Four, on the other hand, operates from a place of love and unbreakable loyalty. They're not just a team, they're a family. This makes them unique. Reed and Sue's bond is solid as a rock. Their relationship isn't just about partnership, it's about unconditional love and trust that helps hold the team together through thick and thin. There's no ideological divide between their members. Sure, they all have their personal struggles, Johnny's impulsiveness and Ben's struggles with his identity, but those are about personal growth, not team conflict. This family dynamic makes them less likely to implode under pressure, giving the MCU a refreshing, optimistic change of pace from other teams. With their deep ties to some of Marvel's most legendary cosmic villains, the Fantastic Four are primed to open up entirely new narrative possibilities in the MCU. We're talking about Galactus, Doctor Doom, and the Skrulls. These guys aren't just small-time bad guys, they're multiversal level threats. The introduction of the Fantastic Four will allow the MCU to explore these characters in ways they never could before. Galactus, a godlike, world-devouring force of nature? Imagine that cosmic beast threatening to tear apart the multiverse. That is the type of story that could define the next major phase of the MCU. And don't even get me started on Doctor Doom. He's not just a tech mastermind, he's a master of magic, and a multi-dimensional villain who could take the MCU in some mind-blowing directions. What's even cooler is that the Fantastic Four's origin story, spanning cosmic radiation, space travel, and dimension-bending technology, opens the door for new, spacefaring adventures that the MCU has barely scratched the surface of. Imagine the team encountering alien species, dealing with advanced technologies from far-off galaxies, or exploring entirely new dimensions. The scope of their storytelling potential is limitless. Introducing Fantastic Four isn't just about adding a new superhero team to the roster, it's about unlocking whole new avenues for storytelling that could diversify the MCU in ways we can't even predict yet. Their presence will push the MCU's cosmic narrative to new heights, ensuring that fans are treated to some of the most imaginative, otherworldly adventures yet. Kevin Feige, the mastermind behind the MCU, has been very clear about the Fantastic Four's massive importance to the future of the franchise. According to Feige, the Fantastic Four are set to become a big pillar of the MCU going forward, which means they won't just be a cool team-up, but a central driving force in the shaping of the entire Marvel Universe. And if you've been paying attention to all the multiverse madness, you know how critical this is. Fantastic Four's involvement is expected to play a huge role in major upcoming events like Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. How Fantastic Four First Steps fares at the box office and with fans will set the tone for how the team is incorporated into the MCU's ongoing epic saga. Their successful integration could lay the groundwork for future crossovers. Imagine an epic Avengers Fantastic Four X-Men crossover that has us nerds losing our minds. That's the potential of getting the Fantastic Four right. But if the movie falters, it could be a serious misstep for the MCU, leaving a massive gap in its narrative. This could make it harder to move forward with larger story arcs that have been years in the making. The Fantastic Four aren't just another team. They are the key to connecting everything and expanding the multiverse in ways we haven't even begun to imagine. We all know the Fantastic Four franchise has had its fair share of hiccups in the past. Looking at you, 2015 reboot. That film, with its muddled tone and lackluster execution, was a disappointment for fans and critics alike, failing to live up to the excitement of seeing these iconic characters on the big screen. The failure of Fantastic Four First Steps wouldn't just be a letdown for fans, it would seriously shake the MCU's credibility in bringing in legacy Marvel properties, especially those as beloved as the Fantastic Four. The MCU has built a reputation for seamlessly weaving in new characters and fresh storylines. A failure here could have a domino effect on other Marvel properties, particularly the X-Men, who are also set to join the MCU soon. Both teams play key roles in the cosmic and multiversal sagas that are the MCU's bread and butter. If the Fantastic Four are left in the dust, the MCU could struggle to introduce the X-Men in a meaningful way. That's a huge problem, especially as we gear up for the even more ambitious phases ahead. Without the Fantastic Four as a strong foundation, the MCU might lose its direction, and the multiverse saga could end up feeling disjointed, or worse, stagnant. The success of Fantastic Four First Steps isn't just about delivering the long-awaited dream team of Marvel's fans' hearts. It's about securing the next phase of the MCU's cosmic domination and future-proofing its dominance in the cinematic multiverse. With their iconic powers, rich emotional arcs, and deep comic book history, the Fantastic Four are poised to expand the MCU's intergalactic and multiversal playground, introducing jaw-dropping new characters and villains that could shift the balance of power across the entire franchise. If this movie bombs, though, it's not just a missed opportunity. It could throw a wrench in the entire MCU machine, hindering its ability to innovate, evolve, and stay on top in a rapidly shifting film landscape. The fate of the MCU might literally hinge on the success of Fantastic Four First Steps. It's make or break time for the future of Marvel. Fantastic Four First Steps is set to be more than just another superhero film. It's a game changer for the MCU. With the team's rich cosmic history and iconic characters, how will this movie reshape the Marvel Universe? What do you want to see most with the Fantastic Four? Tell us in the comments below.
Welcome to CBR. Mr. Fantastic, aka Reed Richards, is one of Marvel's most beloved heroes. He's not just the leader of the Fantastic Four, but a brilliant scientist and inventor who, along with his team, has saved the day on innumerable occasions. Let's take a closer look at his powers. After Reed Richards, along with Sue Storm, Ben Grimm, and Johnny Storm were hit with cosmic rays, each became impacted in radically different ways. Richards was given the ability of malleability, the power to manipulate any part of his body to stretch and contort it far beyond what the average, or even most special individuals can do. Taking on complex forms such as enlarging himself to the width and thinness of a parachute, reaching impossible spaces through elongation, and other more imaginative stretches are all just a part of his repertoire. One of the good things about Mr. Fantastic's abilities is that he can wrap himself around explosives and absorb their shock. Just exactly what level of durability Mr. Fantastic has is unclear, but he can stretch with the velocity of a projectile, ensuring that no damage is done. In the case of some weaponry, he can rubber band the attack back at his enemy, using their own projectiles against them. Interestingly, malleability has other benefits as well, such as the ability to take on the appearance of whomever Mr. Fantastic chooses. He can alter how he looks in more than just shape, but also in hue and detail. Alongside this immensely beneficial infiltration ability, he can also change his vocal cords to mimic those of the person he is pretending to be, adding another layer to the ruse. Mr. Fantastic is also far more than just a slinky and sly individual, however. He can also turn his body or select portions of it into bludgeoning weapons like sledgehammers, anvils, and just about anything else that can have wacky comic effects. Exactly how Mr. Fantastic emulates the weight of such heavy objects is unclear, but he has become a veritable human bulldozer on more than one occasion. But the stretching would be nothing without Reed Richards' supreme intellect. He's not solely reliant on extreme contortions, but the limits of his own mind. Richards has developed numerous technologies which have aided not just him, but the rest of his team, proving crucial in battles against foes like Dr. Doom. While Richards can certainly hold his own in a fight, he always comes prepared with an arsenal of gadgetry that can shift a battle in his favor. Do you have any favorite Mr. Fantastic shapes? What about inventions? Let us know in the comments below. Remember to hit subscribe before you go. Welcome to CBR. The Marvel Universe is full of superheroes of every kind, but of all the heroes that come to define Marvel Comics over the years, few have had the impact that the Fantastic Four have had. Today at CBR, we're discussing why the Fantastic Four are Marvel's very best superhero team,
transforming their leader, Reed Richards, into the plastic-skinned Mr. Fantastic.
The Fantastic Four debuted in November 1961. Created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, the Fantastic Four continued the superhero trend that Marvel Comics, formerly Timely and later Atlas Comics, had started over 2 decades prior. Characters like the Human Torch, the original android, and not the later member of the Fantastic Four, Namor, and Captain America brought stories of larger-than-life battles to fans all over the country. With World War II raging across Europe, people needed comics as a means of helping them cope with the reality of what was occurring overseas. What makes the debut of the Fantastic Four so impactful was the fact that they should never have succeeded in the first place. When World War II ended, the awesome adventures of Marvel's earliest heroes weren't needed anymore. Fans no longer needed to read astounding stories of America's best and brightest heroes battling foes in distant lands. Superheroes became replaced by cowboys. Supervillains took a backseat to teenage romance titles and slice-of-life comics. And with attacks against the entire comic book industry throughout the 50s, it seemed as if the future of Marvel and countless other publishers was extremely grim. And then, in 1961, a group of adventurers took to the stars for the most transformational voyage of all time. Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm all became engulfed in cosmic rays during an unexpected accident. Returning to Earth, they found themselves changed on a molecular level. With their wondrous new powers, they vowed from that day forward they would call themselves the Fantastic Four and become a team dedicated to using their new powers for good.
I wouldn't be caught dead wearing that.
I love these costumes. They're missing something though, right? It's like spice.
They're not costumes.
It might not seem apparent to fans today, but the birth of the Fantastic Four marked the most seminal moment in Marvel Comics history. Dubbed the Marvel Age of Comics, while the original Human Torch and Namor teamed up with Captain America and the Invaders so many years prior, the Marvel Universe was still woefully unpopulated. The Fantastic Four became the series that introduced major Marvel characters such as Doctor Doom, the Inhumans, Black Panther, Adam Warlock, and countless more. It was through the Fantastic Four that the Marvel Universe began to take shape. While many other series were debuting all around them, like the Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man, and the X-Men, the Fantastic Four remained the epicenter of Marvel Comics. 1965's Fantastic Four, annual number 3, is a prime example of how all roads led back to the Baxter Building. The dramatic and long-awaited wedding of Reed Richards and Sue Storm brought together virtually every hero and villain on Earth, with a hefty dose of supporting characters tossed into the mix as well. It was an action-packed, senses-shattering melee extravaganza that included everything that made Marvel.
Knight to queens, bishop 3. Checkmate.
Aw, shouldn't I be better at...
Looking beyond their origin story and how they helped put Marvel Comics on the map, the Fantastic Four as a team are wholly unique from most other superheroes. To begin with, they're famous explorers and scientists that have never shied away from revealing their true identities to the world. Considering that they don't wear masks, the Fantastic Four have always been public icons and celebrities. So much so that the Human Torch even has his own fan club. Another major difference in the construct of the Fantastic Four is the fact that they're a family before they're a team of superheroes. Sure, the Avengers are Earth's mightiest heroes and work well together for the most part, but no one on that team really considers themselves to be an actual family. Reed and Sue are married, and Sue and Johnny are brother and sister. This makes Johnny Reed's brother-in-law, which only leaves Ben as the odd man out. Considering how Ben and Reed were close friends in college, every member of the team has a close personal connection with one another. Reed and Sue have children, and when Franklin Richards was still very small, Uncle Ben was the best babysitter in the world. This level of intimacy and familial bond isn't seen with other teams. Even the X-Men, who have had some of the most complicated relationships on Earth, lack the same same dynamic that the Fantastic Four have. Emotional mutant teenagers and prickly old men dating one another isn't quite the same as a husband and wife balancing their family life with traveling through dimensional portals to save the universe on the regular.
And your fire will cease to burn, for no light shall survive.
The Fantastic Four as a team is one of the most powerful fighting forces on the planet. Not only do they have countless years of experience fighting supervillains on and off Earth, but they also have one of the most diversified power sets imaginable. Mr. Fantastic's body does far more than just stretch. Reed is able to manipulate his body in ways that make virtually any physical attack against him useless. The Thing is a walking tank and is thrown down with the likes of the Hulk, Captain Marvel, and the Champion. The Human Torch not only has flight, but can go supernova if needed, becoming a living conduit of pure solar energy. The Invisible Woman is one of the most potent psionics in existence. Together with Reed's boundless brilliance and physical capabilities, the Thing's immense strength, the Human Torch's blistering firepower, and the Invisible Woman's impenetrable force fields and psionic constructs, the Fantastic Four are more than capable of taking down opponents far above their weight class. People like to give them gruff over how antiquated Reed may be, as he still carries the stigma of being a pipe-smoking 1950s everyman, but the Fantastic Four have long since shed off their old-timey stereotypes.
Sorry, ladies. Pull over.
Over the years, it's been difficult for the Fantastic Four to remain as popular and exciting for fans as they once were in the 60s and 70s. Mr. Incredible's stretchy powers are amazing, but far less cool than Tony Stark's cutting-edge combat armor that fires lasers and missiles. The Thing's immense strength makes him one of the most powerful beings on Earth, but he lacks the same cool factor as Wolverine's berserker rage and adamantium claws. As the age of the super stylish superhero and gritty anti-hero took the world of comics by storm, the Fantastic Four just started to seem outdated and dorky when compared to the Punisher and Daredevil. Frank Miller's run on Daredevil, alongside the rise of X-Factor in the late 80s, were nails that hammered the Fantastic Four's coffin shut one hyper-stylized issue at a time. This isn't to say that the Fantastic Four haven't had fans over the years, they most certainly did, but they were forced to take a brief hiatus in the mid-2010s.
With intense concentration, she's also developed the ability to render other objects invisible.
Their return in 2018's Fantastic Four #1 by Dan Slott and Sarah Pichelli marked a return to form for the team, as they had not only rebuilt the entire Marvel multiverse following the events of Secret Wars, but had also returned to a world that had desperately needed them back. The Fantastic Four have always represented the core tenets of Marvel Comics, no matter the decade. Now, the Fantastic Four are on the rise again. First, they are appearing in Marvel Rivals amidst other Marvel heroes and villains. Also, the Fantastic Four. First Steps is scheduled to release in July, finally bringing the team to the forefront of the MCU.
Victor, what's the matter? Afraid of ghosts?
The Marvel Universe may be filled with superheroes and sidekicks of every variety, but there's one that truly exemplifies what it means to be a Marvel superhero: Benjamin Grimm, aka The Thing. Today at CBR, we're diving into what makes The Thing the best superhero of them all. Ben Grimm's story begins just as the three other members of the Fantastic Fours began, with an ill-fated trip aboard a spaceship. What was meant to be a calculated and safe venture into space turned into one of the most transformative moments in the crew's entire lives. When cosmic rays suddenly bombarded the ship, the crew found themselves crashing back to Earth. Emerging from the ship with no real injuries, the crew was astounded to discover that each of them had been imbued with a fantastic power due to the cosmic rays. The leader of the crew, Reed Richards, found that he could stretch his body in any way imaginable. Sue Storm, Reed's love interest and sister to Johnny Storm, discovered that she could turn completely invisible. Johnny Storm, Sue's younger brother, learned that he could set himself completely ablaze and fly through the air. And Ben Grimm, to his utter horror, realized that his entire body was turned into massive orange rock. Dubbing themselves the Fantastic Four, the four spacefarers henceforth dedicated their lives to using their new powers to fight the forces of evil wherever it may be. For Reed, Sue, and Johnny, their powers were wondrous gifts that gave them incredible powers. In many ways, their powers made their lives infinitely better. Johnny even became so popular that he had his own dedicated fan club. But most importantly, for the three members of the Fantastic Four, their powers could be hidden if desired. For Ben Grimm, however, there was no such luck, no way for him to hide what he had become. And it is in this wondrous dichotomy of godlike strength and monstrous visage that the Thing shines as Marvel's greatest superhero.
Sorry about the truck, pal.
If there's anything that defines the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing, it's his immense super strength and durability. For the Thing, hurling cars, punching holes through solid metal, and withstanding bomb-like impacts are all in a day's work. The Thing is one of the strongest heroes on Earth, but he doesn't rank in the highest echelons of power. Thor, the Hulk, Gladiator, and Hercules all punch far above the Thing's weight class and can take more severe beatings than he can too. But it is exactly this limitation that sets the Thing apart from the stronger heroes. The Thing knows he has limits. He knows there are forces out there that can pulverize him in an instant. He knows, well and good, that he isn't the final word on raw strength and invulnerability. But what the Thing lacks in extreme power, he more than makes up for in sheer will. In one of the most famous moments in Marvel history, 1982's Marvel 2-in-1 number 7 showcased how the Thing put on a pair of boxing gloves and stepped up to the universe's most powerful being. When even Thor, the Hulk, Sasquatch, Colossus, and Wonder Man are all defeated or disqualified from their bouts against the champion, the fate of the world comes down to the Thing. The Thing is sorely outmatched and takes one of the worst beatings of his life, but no matter how badly he's put down, he absolutely refuses to give up. The champion becomes more and more impressed by the Thing's tenacity as he's reduced to crawling on his hands and knees to try and keep the fight going. The Thing may not be the heaviest hitter in the world, but no one can match his undying loyalty, his family, his friends, and the pursuit of always doing the right thing. For those that may not know him well, the Thing may seem like a rough and tough bruiser, nothing more than a gruff meathead with a thick New York accent and a bad attitude. But beneath that thick orange rock is one of the warmest, most compassionate, and most caring individuals to walk the earth. He may not be as intelligent as Reed Richards, he may not be as socially popular as Johnny Storm, but the Thing is a loving friend, a doting uncle, and a hero to anyone who needs him. This may seem like the bare minimum to even be considered to be a superhero, but as the Thing is always wrestling with his massive rocky form, he's often found himself lost in the depths of depression and despair. In one of the most iconic Fantastic Four stories ever written, 1966's Fantastic Four number 51, this man, this monster, frames the Thing's virtues as a friend, as a man, and as a person around a case of stolen identity. When a man renders the Thing unconscious, he turns himself into the Thing, which makes Ben Grimm revert back to his original self. Ben Grimm is elated at his transformation and rushes to propose to his girlfriend, Alicia Masters. But at the exact moment that Alicia opens the door, Ben reverts back to being the Thing, the plot concerning his imposter having come to an end. The Thing rushes away from Alicia and returns home to the Baxter building, where he becomes lost in his sadness over never being able to live the life he so desperately wants.
Look at me! I am looking! That's why I can't make a mistake!
For the Thing, his powers are a curse. Even though he's saved the lives of countless people, deep down, the Thing simply wishes to live a happy life himself. What makes the Thing such a compelling character isn't his superpowers. As has been proven quite definitively, there are far stronger beings in the universe. What makes the Thing such a fantastic character is how he continues to be the very best hero, the very best person he can, despite his limitations. The Thing was thrust into his situation against his will and has been a major point of contention between him and the rest of the Fantastic Four over the years. His hair-trigger temper has often flared over the injustice of his predicament. But when the cards are down, The Thing will always step up and put others before himself. In one of the greatest images of The Thing put to print in 2004's 4 #1, The Thing becomes a construction worker when the Fantastic Four fall on hard times. Despite being chewed out by his boss and having a pretty terrible start to his day, The Thing instantly rushes forward and stands over a man when a piece of the construction site falls down towards him. That image of The Thing holding thousands of pounds over his head to protect a man he doesn't know, with the words 100% hero right next to him, is quintessential Marvel superhero.
I just wanted to give him a hug.
At the end of the day, Ben Grimm is an everyman. He's the guy you bump into at the corner store or bodega and catch up with over a buttered roll and coffee. He's the guy you play poker with on a Friday night, a cold beer sweating on the table in front of him. He's most definitely the guy who gets a little too into the sports game at the bar and tosses out some choice language. But he's also the man that brought Rogue to tears instantly when she absorbed his powers in 1986's Fantastic Four vs. the X-Men. He's the man that has fought to protect his family time and time again, and was the man that mourned them bitterly after the events of Secret Wars. The Thing is coarse, sure, but he's also the incarnation of bravery and tireless will. And to be completely honest, few characters in the Marvel Universe have personality that can match that of Aunt Petunia's favorite nephew. The Thing is both blessed and cursed by his powers and is forever chained to a life he never asked for. But rather than turning his pain to a path of anger, he focuses his efforts on making the world a better place. What are your thoughts on The Thing? Who do you think Marvel's best hero is? Comment, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching CBR.